6 miles to Chicago. We got a full tank of gas, half a pack of cigarettes. It's dark, and we're wearing sunglasses. Hit it.
Good evening and welcome to the Long Island Blues Warehouse. Good evening, everybody. It's Mark Klein hanging out with you. We're talking to a musician tonight that started at the age of 14, studying the blues styles of Big Walter Horton, Little Walter Jacobs, Sonny Boy Williamson. He's performed with B.B. King, Muddy Waters, John Lee Hooker, just to name a few. On the stage with us tonight, this week's featured artist, Doug Harmonica Mclean.
Baby's head, bright light, big city, that's going to my baby's head. Well, I try to tell her something, she don't believe a word I say. Go ahead, pretty baby. Well, honey, knock yourself out. Go ahead, pretty baby. Well, honey, knock yourself out. Fine, fine dollars, you make me jump, jump, and shout. baby's head. Now you try to tell her something. She don't believe a word I say. Now go ahead, pretty baby. I said, honey, knock yourself out. Go ahead, pretty baby. Honey, knock yourself out. You're a fine, fine dollar. You make me jump and shout.
Oh, yeah. This week's featured artist, Doug Harmonica Mclean. I got a backache after that, Doug. I'll tell you what. Nicely done, my man. Doug, let's start with some history with you, if we can. First of all, where are you from? Patchogue?
Long Island.
A little closer on that mic, if you would.
Long Island's my home. Patchogue is our home base. Belport's my high school way back in '66.
Long Island, born and raised.
Yeah, I left early. I left in about 1967.
All right.
Went west.
You headed west for a period of time.
Yeah, out to Detroit. Went to school out there, real near, close to Chicago.
All right.
And a lot of Chicago blues when I got there in '66. Big Walter.
Muddy Waters.
Muddy, Freddie, Albert.
Were you there?
Seals.
Were you there when Buddy Guy headed through that area?
Yeah, in fact, there was a place called Ann Arbor, which was a home of the University of Michigan. They had one of the big first festivals called the Ann Arbor Blues Festival, the same year as Woodstock.
Okay,
All
sure.
the major artists were there for the first 3 days, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Any artist that was around at the time who was a major artist was there. And they all performed. It's all documented.
I believe it is. I believe it is.
So I was there for about a year, and that sort of inspired me to come back to Long Island with a mission, because there was no blues here when I left.
On a mission.
Walk, don't run, Louie Louie.
A man on a mission. We like that. We like that, Doug. Doug, let's start with some history with you. Let's talk about when you were in your teens. Let's talk about when you were 14. What made you decide this was a direction you were going to head into in life?
Well, I sort of raised in a musical family. Blues, gospel was something part of the culture, so it was around me all the time. So it mattered making a decision where I wanted to go as to what I really wanted to do. Fooled around with harmonica, some street combos, things like that, 14, 15. Time I got to college age, I had to make a decision what I wanted to do, and I said, let's try college. That's what the parents inspired me and sort of wanted me to do. So that's when I headed out west. But when I got there is when the whole scene changed. Because when I got there, that was the blues scene. The blues scene was happening there already in Ann Arbor, Michigan, at the home of the University of Michigan, where I was going to school at. And when I got there, I sort of leaned in that direction and said, My calling is going to be with the blues, not particularly with academic life. And that's how it all got started. So I started studying really heavy duty. There was an intense scene out there. Blues bands were all over the place on a regular basis, right in town. And everybody came to town on a regular basis, too, from Chicago, being in very close proximity. Hooker lived in Detroit at the time, which was very close.
John Lee Hooker.
John Lee, the boogeyman.
The boogeyman.
Who I had a chance to work with somewhere down the line, I guess, many years later. I heard about him first back in the 60s, worked together, I guess, first time in the 80s, and did a show at the Brookhaven Lab. And so these guys all came back in my life later on.
Very nice.
My inspiration. So I was very lucky and very fortunate and very happy about that.
Great beginning for you, Doug. Doug Harmonica Mclean. Doug, I say we put you boys back to work. Then we'll come back and chat some more and continue the Doug Harmonica Mclean journey. What are we doing next, Doug?
Here's one by a guy who inspired me. You might have heard of him. Junior Wells, Buddy Guy. Song called Mess with the Kid.
Those names sound familiar. Blues Warehouse. Here we go.
1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now what's a kid? Going around town. People say you want to put the kid down. Said no. Hey, look at what you're doing. Call it what you want. Well, I call it Messin. Not a kid, no child. Y'all poppin' just don't play. I said I mean what I say. When I say now, no. Hey, look at what you're doing. Call it what you want. Well, I call it Messin. one. Oh, I call it Messin. One more time. Pick it up right now.
This is DJ Laura from London, and you're listening to the Long Island Blues Warehouse. Low down shame. People in this a pity. Low down, dirty shame. Now it's 9 below zero. Put it down for another man. She lied to me, did not tell me everything. She lied to me, now did not tell me everything. Now it's 9 below zero. Poured my washing ring.
So very hot. Then to lose my baby. Ah, she's the only one. The only one I got.
Oh, yeah. This week's featured artist, Doug Harmonica Mclean. Doug, nicely done, my man, as always. Let's get back to the Doug Harmonica Mclean journey if we can. Let's pick up where we left off. One of the things I want to ask you is all these unbelievable blues greats and icons today that you played with in the early days. First of all, do you remember who you got on stage first?
The first guy.
Who's the first big guy you got to play with?
The way it really worked was this. I was on the island here, came back from the Midwest like I was talking about. At that time, no blues on the island. A company called Blue Label Records in New York City had a label which had on it at the time Louisiana Red, Johnny Shines, Sonny Terry, Brownie McGee.
Okay.
They gave me a call, a guy named Ken Cooper, asked me to come into the city to audition to play harmonica for Louisiana Red.
Nice.
That was the beginning of the journey. He was a major artist at the time. Played with everybody. Little Walter, Big Walter, recorded, Atco. That started it all.
Okay.
We toured for about 5 or 6 years. Down south, out west, up north, Muddy, the whole scene. From there, a lot of things ensued. He went off for a solo career in Europe, which has now become a gigantic career. And I embarked on trying to bring some blues to Long Island. And the mission continued or really began in real earnest at that particular point. That's when I ran across guys like Donnie Salenza, Chuck Colombo.
Sure.
I got invited to gigs with major artists, Lightning Hopkins, the premier blues poet. He was on that gig back in 1981. Lightning's last gig.
You and Donnie were the last guys to play with did his last performance with him.
Correct, at Tramps, New York City.
Tramps, New York City.
We have it on CD.
I'd like to get my hands on a copy of that.
We can work it out. Chuck was on that gig too.
Chuck was on that gig as well. Nicely done, my man.
Right, and a guy named what's his name? Chris Ripley, who's now a drummer for a band called the Lone Sharks, which is
East End Long Island band.
It's a great band. And he was with me at that time, too. So
they did our show when we started some years back.
Far out. Well, he's one of the early guys.
Yeah, big time.
So I putting those guys together, we started doing shows in New York City, and just one thing led to another, and we got offered shows at my father's place, became basically the house band there for blues acts. Worked there with many, many, many blues acts, from Earl McCalkin to Greg Allman to B.B. Muddy, Hooker, Albert King, Maria Moldau, even Jaco Pastorius.
Nice.
With Yorma, which was interesting.
You got recordings of that?
Yes, I do. On cassette, way back.
I'll tell you what, my man. I need copies of that stuff. I'd love to start playing some of those things on the show.
So we can work out.
Maybe we can talk more about that. Yeah. Nice, very nice.
Well, you're doing a great thing yourself. You're trying to document this stuff, and it's important that there's a documentation of what's going down so somebody knows about something in the future.
We picked up some amazing talent on Long Island, as I'm sure you know.
Place has come a long, long, long way.
You guys like you and Little Buster that started it all.
Yeah, Buster was a great player. In fact, before beginning when Al was with me, he went from me to Little Buster for about 12 years and came back to me once Buster passed away.
One of the fellow soul brothers.
Yes, he was a major soul brother. But we gave him some schooling in the early days.
You do any work with Buster yourself?
I played with him a couple times when we did a couple gigs with B.B. King. We split a gig one time with B.B. at my father's place. He did the first show, I did the second show.
Nice.
But he was a great R&B guy, fantastic player, had his act together. He knew what he was doing. Great soul man.
You've worked with guys like Johnny Winter.
Yeah, I worked with Johnny Winter back in the 70s with Louisiana Red, first place called Pops, New York City. We all got together with a guy named John Paris, who went on to work with Johnny for many years and recorded with Johnny for many years. So yeah, I've been very lucky. The ticket was really working with Louisiana Red, who was a major artist. Everybody knew him. I guess Jagger came in a couple times to see us play at Tramps, New York City.
Nice.
Louisiana Red, major artist.
Some great history behind you there, Doug Harmonica McLean. We're thrilled to get you in here. We
I'm
tried to
happy
get
to
you in
be
here a
here.
few times over the years, but we always had scheduling conflicts, and I'm glad. Better late than never.
Hey.
I'm glad we finally put it together. I say we put you people back to work. Let's jump into another tune. We'll come back and chat it up a little bit more. What are we doing next, sir?
Here's a song by Sonny Boy Williamson, a song called Young Fashioned Ways.
Once again on the Blues Warehouse, Doug Harmonica McLean.
D1, 2, D1, 2, D. Got some young fashion ways. You know I may be old, but I still got some young fashion ways. Love myself a good woman, the rest of my natural days. My hair be turning gray, I let you know the way I feel. My hair may be turning gray, I let you know the way I feel. Maybe snow upon the mountain, but the fire under them hills. Going on. Yours may be fast, horse know just what's going on. And yours will win the race, horse will last so long. carry on through.
Oh, yeah. This week's featured artist, Doug Harmonica Mclean. Nicely done, Doug. As always. Nicely done, as always. Doug, let's talk about your traveling. You did a lot of traveling, as you mentioned, in the early days. Do you still travel today around the country?
No, I'm a homebody now. I sort of work backwards in this business. I was out on the road from 1975 to about 1981. Up north, Canada with Red. Down south, Canada with Red and Muddy. And who else? Peg Leg Sam, Buddy Moss.
Nice.
Out west, Detroit. So I did the stuff. I had sort of a front-loaded career. The major guys happened first, and they inspired me to keep going. So I stay on the island right now and sort of play the blues on the island because I'm happy to see this club so you can do that.
You're still doing your thing every weekend here on Long Island, I'm glad to hear.
Pretty much when I'm not playing, I'm teaching.
Where are you teaching? Private lessons?
Exactly. I've been with Harmonica since 1984. I've been endorsed by them since the early 80s.
Very nice. You get into the city much? Do any gigs?
That was all years ago, back at the Lone Star, back at Rose's Cantina.
Kenny's Castaways?
Manny's.
Maddie's Car Wash, sure.
The other place was Dr. Generosity's Musical Saloon, Dan Lynch's.
Dan Lynch's. There were like 4 of them, I think.
Yeah, a bunch of places
A lot of these places don't exist anymore.
I don't think time goes on. End the world. Speakeasy, Manhattan, Village.
I know you're at the barbecues in Patchogue once a month.
Somewhat regularly, about once every 3 or 4 months. That's
it's that sporadic, huh?
They've got a big revolving
He's got a
rotation.
lot. Yeah, he's got a lot of bands he needs to take care of.
Well, the game works once so he knows you have a blues club or a club that has blues bookings. They really calls you, so it's good. It's good for the music. It's good for the scene.
You a writer? Do you sit down and write?
Only out of my head from time to time. Make songs up on stage, but basically I try to revive the classics and make sure that they don't get lost. So people know exactly the originals and where they come from. Maybe you're inspired to go listen to them and buy the originals.
I know if people go to the Long Island Blues Society's website, liblues.org, they can follow things that the local Long Island scene's doing. You're up there as well. Everything you do from week to week is usually up there.
Yeah, it's good to go to society idea now. Long Island Blues Society is a good thing.
I agree. Things like the Blues Society and this show keep the scene pretty strong on Long Island. I'm glad to be a part of it.
And the blues radio programs.
As well. And you make a tremendous contribution to what we're doing, so we appreciate that. Do you, how many CDs, are there CDs out that people can purchase from Doug Harmonica Mclean, and where can they go to find these things?
They can see me personally. I have CDs when I do my gigs. When you see
bring
me,
them to the shows.
When you see me at a gig, I got CDs with me. There's some stuff out there on Just in Time Records out of Canada with Louisiana Red, because I worked with him for a bunch of years, as I said earlier, and we recorded a bunch of stuff that was put on CD. So if you want to track down Just in Time Records, the Rising Sun collection from the Rising Sun Louisiana Red, I'm on that with him.
Very nice.
And a bunch of stuff that I never released. I got a bunch of CDs, stuff I've made with Lightning and things like that, but never been released. So I got it sometime to get it out there somehow, some way.
Well, I'll tell you what, there's a little rumor that we might, in the near future, be able to get guys like Buddy Guy on the stage to do the show. And if that happens, I'd love to see if we can get you to come in and do some guest heart blowing on that.
Haven't seen Buddy in a long time. Last time was at Bay Street.
How long ago?
That was about at least 15 years ago. He was playing with BB at Bay Street.
So it would be a cool little reunion if we can put that together.
Be another good one, actually, because a good one was like about 2004 when I got back together with Louisiana Red after 30 years.
30, huh? Yeah. Let me ask you a question. You've been doing this for decades, obviously.
Yeah, it's my calling. It's what I do.
Do you see yourself retiring one day, or are you going to do this until you can't anymore?
Retire implies that you tire. When I tire, then I retire, but I'm not ready to retire yet. So as long as I'm not tired. I'm not going to retire.
I'm glad to hear that, my man. I'm glad to hear that. We're having a blast in here with you, and we got some time on the clock. We probably have time for 2 more. I say we do another tune. We'll come back and do our goodbyes, and then you boys will play us out. And I thank you in advance. I'm going to thank you a few dozen times between now and then. And like I said, you make a great contribution to the whole blues scene on Long Island and in general. And I thank you so much for what you do, Doug Mclean.
Good to meet you, Mark.
Let's do another one. We'll come back and chat some more. What are we doing next?
Early in the morning.
Long Island Blues Warehouse. This is Doug Harmonica Mclean.
Now when a girl reaches the age of 18, she begins to think she's grown. That's the kind of girl you never find at home. You'll find her early in the morning. Baby, about to break up in. You saw me hug my pillow. Where my good girl used to lay. One drink of wine, 2 drinks of gin. Young girl, put me to shame now. In the shape I'm in. Now it's early in the morning. About to break up then. You saw me hug my pillow. Where my good girl, my good girl used to lay. that juke joint. I peeped through the door. She was on a boogie woogie in the middle of the floor. Now it's early in the morning. I said, baby, about to break of day. So me, my love. How would I go? When that girl used to lay?
Oh, yeah. Very nice. This week's featured artist, Doug Harmonica Mclean. Nicely done, Doug, as always.
Thank you.
We thank you so much. We got to thank Chuck Colombo over here on the guitar. We got to thank Donnie Salenza over there on the other guitar. Thank you, Donnie. Mr. Al Levi on the bass. Mike Joes on the drum kit. Thank you so much. And last but certainly not least, Mr. Doug Harmonica Mclean, vocals and harp frontman. Nicely done, my man, as always. Doug, look forward to seeing a lot more of you around the island. And if we can get some specialty shows together on this stage, I hope you'll come back and join us and see us again soon.
You know my number.
I sure do, and I'm not going to forget it. You boys are going to play us out, but before you do, DJ Laura from London, England, do you have anything to add?
I sure do. Please check out EKO Studios in Deer Park, New York at ekoproductions.com. And remember, they are the official studio of the Long Island Blues Warehouse.
I don't think I could have said that better myself. DJ Laura, thank you so much. Doug, you boys are going to play us out. What are we going to finish up with, my man?
Going to Kansas City, here we come.
One more time on the Blues Warehouse. Please say goodbye to Doug Harmonica Mclean.
1, 2, 3. Cross the line. Then we stand on the corner. Well, it's 12th Street line. With my bottle of Kansas City whiskey, my girl New York wine. song.